Well, hello there. You came to the right place at the right time. This is not the Trevor No Laugh show, the Steven Sobor show. This is not the Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Ellen, Jimmy Oprah show. Put those little Jimmys away. Replace them with a big, half Persian Jimmy. You're watching The Right Show. This show is money. We make fun of the things you are not allowed to talk about, not allowed to joke about on mainstream television. This has been described as a support group for normal people. And I'm so glad you're all tuning in late at night. Now, my podcasters are listening to this a week after the fact. We pull the audio, we make it into a podcast. But my live people, you're saying, Kvon, this is not Wednesday night. What's going on? Well, I have a lot of shows in Las Vegas coming up, and we had to sneak this one in now. Therefore, it's a night early, and it's at a very late hour because I'm hoping to catch my Australian friends and my people in Russia, Paraguay, Philippines, and around the world. So put in the comments where you are from, and let's see if my dastardly plan worked. Did I capture people that have never caught me live? You can say in the chats, this is my first live. Thank you for the weird hour. Whatever you want, I'll check it out. We're welcoming YouTubers, Facebookers, rock finners, and after this, we hang out on locals.com to do a wrap-up of the show. So now you know what you never knew. Let's get started. Today, we break down the legal way to avoid wearing a mask on a plane. We expose the staged January 6th coup. Coup let the dogs out. And I'm going to make you laugh. It all happens right here, right now, on The Right Show. So before we get started, we do have a word from our sponsor. I'm going to look in the comments and see exactly where you guys are from, what you're up to, but here is who makes this show possible. Hit it. If you have joint pain, muscle soreness, digestive problems, or just difficulty concentrating, then you might need Active Adams turmeric curcuminoids. This is a high dosage of turmeric extract which promotes a healthy inflammation response. Each capsule contains 15 times more turmeric extract than other turmeric supplements. And for each bottle you purchase, Active Adams donates to help fight sex trafficking. This is a company that actually stands for freedom, whether it's freedom from inflammation, freedom of speech, or freedom from modern day slavery. Visit activeadams.com and enter Kvon10 at checkout for your 10% discount and help fight inflammation while living with freedom. Ooh, that's how you do that. Folks, I've had a chance to catch up on where everybody's from, and we do have people that we've never had on here. We have Paraguayans, Indianans, Colombians from Columbus, Ohio, of course. And if you look at the little image on the screen, my Columbus, Ohio friend used a very, very naughty logo, one that's not allowed according to the radical left. You have to see it to believe it. I'm offended. How about you? Also, we have people from South Idaho. I didn't think that was possible. Texas, and my favorite city in America just because of the name, Laguna Niguel. This is a town in Southern California. You'll be driving down the 405, which I think turns into the 5. You look to the right, and it's like, next exit, Laguna Niguel. And that is a city that is very beautiful, very green and lush, way down south. So what's up, my Laguna Niguels? Texans are coming in hard, and we have the Australians as well. So there we have it. And all these comments go on the screen. So if you're listening to the podcast, you might want to check the description for the live link, and you may be pleasantly surprised that it's even more fun to watch. I know that's hard to believe. The soothing embers in my tones, they kind of just work their way into your ear. Now just add my face to it. Oh, you're in for a treat. Now, if you want to know how to interact in the show, if you do a super chat, that means you threw a little tip in the bucket. I give you if I catch it in time, and that keeps the show sponsored. If you don't want to do a super chat, can't figure that out, you go on GoFundMe, Venmo, Cashapp. You give a little tip to Kanene, and that's how we do it. I'd like to give you an update. We're now at 335,000 subscribers on YouTube. The reason I bring that up, not to brag, but I'm not half Persian anymore. I'm the most famous full Persian on YouTube. How did we get that far? Because we smashed that like button like you're Kamala Harris on a first date. Now it's time I give you a week in review. If you've never lived the life of a comedian, you've never hung out with a comedian, I'm going to be the one you hang out with. If I come to your town, if you want to come see me live, and if we get along and you're not creepy AF, then we'll hang out after the show. A lot of people in the chats, we have hung out before. And I want to show you one weekend in the life of a comedian is as much traveling as the average person does in a year. So here is a week in review for those of you who didn't know what I was up to. I took a flight all the way to Reno, Nevada, got in a car, drove 4 hours to Eureka, Nevada, drove back the same night after the show. So that's like a 12-hour day right there. And then jumped on the plane at 5 a.m. and flew to Portland for a private event. I'm too tired talking about it. Just watch. We're here in Eureka, Nevada. It is about the size of Medora, maybe a little bit bigger. And here's where I'm performing. Eureka! Opera House.
Yeah, so big.
A tour of the amazing accommodations we got in Portland. Thank you to the birthday boy for the best hotel of the year. Have a little conference in here. Too bad I have nobody to conference with. King size bed. Modern bath. Thank you. I love it.
It's been really fun doing comedy here, and I just really appreciate you guys. First time I ever had such great food, and did you cook it all yourself? Did you put it all together? She did it, yeah. Give her a hand with that. Was like good. Justin Rivera. That was awesome, the different impressions in the movies. He said that, man, I used to do a good impression of Kamala Harris, but I can't get my legs that far over my head anymore, so that's
yeah.
So, I asked various people throughout the crowd if you have any dirt on Scott. Just to make it... Because it's way more interesting, and you'd be surprised how many of your friends were willing to give me all your darkest secrets.
No, I'm not surprised at all.
I was amazed that a man who was a police officer had this many friends. I really was. Especially in Portland. You don't expect that when you get here. So, good job, Sarge. Scott is the kind of guy who will get his haircut just to flirt with the barber. And luckily it was a female this time. That's good. Yeah. Scott is the kind of guy who will call the city to complain about a neighbor's yard. And then when the police came, they gave him the citation. There's got to be a story for that.
I don't know it.
He's pleading the fifth. But that is awesome. To know Scott is to get updates about things you never wanted to know about. Just today he posted on Facebook about his new ball powder he put on.
That was last week.
Excuse me, it just popped up on my feed today, so thank you. Yes, he says he put powder on his balls and it burned, and one of your friends said, just like his pickup truck did last year. And this was actually a nice one. He makes his friends and especially Shorel laugh a lot, and that's what you need to know about Scott. Happy birthday, Scott! The comedy portion is officially over.
Well, there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed just a little snippet of what it's like if you hire someone, a comedian, to come and just perform for 15, 20, 40 people in your condo entertainment center. I guess that's what they call it. It was just cool. And underground comedy is the best. We had the best wine, not the comedy club wine where you're paying $15 for a glass and it's disgusting. And it's not, we had Persian food and delicious hors d'oeuvres, and then we just hung out in the condo living center and we rented it out. I think it was like, you tell the building, hey, I want to do my comedy show here, and must have cost, let's just say $200. It was ours for the entire night. We had a blast. So think about that. Now, here is where I'm going to be next. Las Vegas, San Clemente, La Jolla, Huntington Beach, Dallas, Oxnard, Houston, San Jose, and Sacramento. If you can't remember those, kvon.tv has all the dates there. Check them out. I'm going to give away 5 free tickets for Oxnard and 5 free tickets for Las Vegas to anyone who emails me in the next 24 hours. Okay, first come, first serve. You know my email. It's on the screen. Podcasters, info@KvonComedy.com. And if a city is not there, put on your own private event. When we come back, it is time for comment of the week. Ooh, this one's gonna be good. So our comment of the week comes from YouTube. And the people on YouTube are great. They always write in and they say weird things. It's hard to pick a favorite. Now, this is just one that somebody wrote, and we kind of addressed it already, but here we go. Someone says, wow, I have never heard of Kvon before. Isn't that interesting? All these years, never heard. Now, I'll tell you, usually when I hear that, it's when I tell people I'm a comedian, and a girl is like, you're a comedian? I'm like, yeah, world famous. How are you a world famous comedian? I've never heard of you. Now, ladies, if you ever have the urge to say, how could you be X because I've never heard of you? I want to remind you, ladies, who you've never heard of, okay? Can you name the starting lineup on the Chicago Bulls basketball team right now? No. Can you name the kicker for the Denver Broncos? No. Can you name the most famous soccer player on Brazil's team right now? No. Does that mean that person is not a soccer player, football player, basketball player, or famous? Or does it mean you not knowing them has nothing to do with their career? So we move on. Now, this was a pleasant one from Leticia Velasquez. How have I never heard of Kvon? So many laughs. Definitely a fan now. When are you coming to Phoenix? And my reply was, bring me. I was there 5 months ago. So fun. So don't wait for the comedy club to bring your favorite comedian. You make it happen. And now it's time for terms and definitions of the right show. I teach you what the words are people are using and what they really mean. We start with white supremacist. You've heard of white supremacist or white supremacist? I now give you the actual definition of a white supremacist in 2021. A white supremacist today is someone that doesn't agree with the radical left. That's it. We've all heard of the term terror attack. It's time to tell you what a terror attack is. A terror attack is a peaceful protest against the radical left. We've all heard of a violent capital insurrection. Let me break that down for you so you know what it is. A violent capital insurrection is a demonstration where no one dies, not one person, except for an unarmed white woman named Ashley Babbitt. Are you picking up on this now? So the most deadly, violent, terrorist capital insurrection was actually the most peaceful, polite demonstration in America, other than the paid people that infiltrated it and smashed windows. Like, no one else was doing that, but like 10 people they can't find. That is what the violent capital insurrection was: a peaceful, pleasant fraternity costume party with only one person hurt. And the person who killed that poor woman who was unarmed admitted he couldn't see her hands, wasn't sure if she had a weapon, so he just wanted to shoot first and protect everybody inside. Shoot first, protect everybody inside, but have no idea if she's even armed or what her intentions are. And no verbal warning, no strong yelling, no pull her through the window, cuff her, and that's what you normally do. When someone breaks the lines in a insurrection or a protest, they come through the window, you grab them and you throw them back to your buddies, and then you hold point on the people in front of you. You just grab the girl by the hair. She weighs 140 pounds. You whoosh, your buddies grab her, zip tie, whatever, and you stand there. Who's next? And you just keep funneling people back to your homies. That's what a real police officer does, but not a diversity hire who is racist, who already hates white people already and could get their freebie in as an unarmed woman comes through a window. Say, I'm going to get my freebie. All right. Now we can move on to the next term and definition. Have you heard of the Black National Anthem? If you have, please put the name of it in the comments. Put the name of the Black National Anthem in the comments if you know of it. Now, a lot of you are going to say, Kvon, I didn't even know there was a Black United States National Anthem. Well, there really isn't. But the NFL is forcing people to listen to this song in conjunction with our actual national anthem, which brings unity. So they're creating a division there. And they are now forcing that to be played. Someone said, is it one of Snoop Dogg's songs? Thank you, PJ, but you are wrong. Is it called I Plead the Fifth? Close, but not quite. I think it should be Shaggy's Wasn't Me, but you saw me on the counter. Wasn't me, but you saw me on the sofa. Wasn't me, but you put me in the band now. Wasn't me. No. And no, it's not a Stevie Wonder song. Well, since none of you got it, the official name of the Black National Anthem, what they're telling me is Lift All Voices and Sing. But what it really is, if you've ever spent a lot of time with the community, it's lift all asses and twerk. Don't worry, we're going to add music to this in post. It looks like nothing now, but we're going to add it. Okay. Thank you. The final term you need to understand is LGBTQ. It's a very important term. It's a very close term to my heart. We all need to be pro LGBTQ, and you need to show your pride in the Let's Get Biden to Quit movement. Okay? I hope you'll pick one of these up. You can order it only on my website. We've sold several hundred of these. Every day I put a different liquid in it, and it tastes better than it does out of any other vessel I've ever put my lips to. Lift all asses and twerk. That's some gin and juice in there just for this episode. All right, when we come back, here's what I need you to do. We go viral by the amount of likes we get. So I need you to line up your laptop and kick your like button directly through the uprights, because it's now time to officially kick off The Right Show. This would not be a show of mine if we don't constantly remind you the difference between conservatives and leftists. Now, we're not talking about liberals. Liberals are liberal-minded, meaning I have these views, but you can have your views. Let's coexist. We don't mind classic liberals. Unfortunately for you liberals, leftists have taken your beautiful name, commandeered it, and have stolen it from you. So now they call themselves liberals, but they're radical leftists who force you to take the medicine they take, wear the outfit they wear, pray or believe in the same thing they do, whether they call it a religion or science. It's all the same. It's forcing you to act like them. Not always a good idea. So what is the difference between conservatives and leftists? Put it in the comments, and I want to see what you guys think. Every week, we come up with a new one. They're always fun. And, well, I think it's always interesting to see if you guys can get it right. I always have my own version, and we can all have a different version and still be right. That is the beauty of conservative versus leftist. Persian Cucumber, which I imagine is either Persian or really likes me, says leftists are arrogant and think they're right, but they're wrong. Conservatives know they're not dumb and are often right. Interesting. I've noticed another one. Any conspiracy theory from 9 months ago is coming true today. It just keeps happening. Average Joe says, me versus my wife. I wonder who's who in that relationship. Nathaniel Erskine says, conservatives are busy minding their own blanking business. Well, those are all well and good, but I'm going to give you mine. Tell me if you agree. Conservatives create programs, clubs, events, and better communities. And leftists spend all day destroying programs, clubs they don't like, events, and their community. And they destroy your private property in the process. Now, this is a little update for you. January 6th protesters are still in prison. No trial, just locked up for the deep, dark crime of walking through the Capitol and staying between the velvet ropes and walking out. Now, they haven't caught the people who were actually smashing the window, probably because they were given permission. One FBI agent saying, hey, crack a window. We can fix that pretty cheap, but maybe that'll rile them up. Didn't really work. Okay, open the barricade on this side, but pretend you're fighting on this side. So it looks like the people fighting in the edit were the same people who broke in. Okay. What I'm saying is the Capitol fakesurrection was most likely a staged production. How do I know? Because I've watched lots of hours of footage that they release, but we haven't seen 170 other camera angles with over 3 hours on each. Now I want to ask you, let's say there's 200 other camera angles and 3 hours of insurrection footage on it. How many hours are we missing? 200 other cameras, each filmed, because DC is the most well-surveilled city in America, if not the world, especially the Capitol building. So how many hours are we missing that they're refusing to release that might show crystal clear who the first people to the scene were with their hoodies and it looked like an Antifa outfit, but with red, white, and blue stickers all over it. Like, bro, for real? As you're trying to do that math, I'm going to show you my take on the fakesurrection. Go. It is now time to dissect the siege on the Capitol. 300,000 people were at the march. How many people went into the Capitol building? Can we say about 300? What percent of 74 million is 300? You do the math. I want to read it in the comments. Seen any of my videos, you know I support law enforcement. I have never broken into a government building and gotten caught. I don't support hurting law enforcement, and I bet 99.999% of those 74 million do not either. Pipe bombs that were not able to explode, more like a prop, those were set hours before Trump's speech. While Trump's speech was going on, there were already aggressive people congregating at the Capitol. If you're a Trump fan, wouldn't you be at the fun speech? Or would you already be making trouble at the Capitol? Could it be these people weren't exactly the biggest Trump fans in the world? I saw a video of police opening barricades to allow hundreds of people in.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Well, there you have it. So that is how I came up with the idea that maybe this thing was a little too cute. Now, we have to give a little love to K.E. Wolf, who was able to throw a little tip in the bucket. Thank you. K.E. Wolf writes, thank you for cracking us up at all hours, Kvon. Well, thank you for tipping me at all hours. Late night. Yeah. Oh, that's a different show I do after this. Let's go to the next comment. People believe the math on that is 0.000004% of Trump supporters were at the Capitol insurrection stage production. Katie Gonzalez says, I love how leftists say Trump told people to riot when he told them to protest. Big difference. Well, absolutely. There's no difference in the terms and the words Trump used from Maxine Waters. Actually, his rhetoric was rather light compared to the anger and vitriol that Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. There's going to be a whirlwind, Mr. Trump, and you're going to pay the price as soon as I leave New York, my favorite bagel shop. And finally, the most true comment we have so far, I just put it up on the chats. All right. Now, here's a question I have. Antifa showed up to instigate a fight with every single Trump event ever, with little kids and grandmas and girls. Now, why would Antifa not show up to the Capitol March? They just missed this one? Were they busy that day? Those homeless weirdos? Or were they tipped off, this is going to go down, put on your red, white, and blues, and let's do a little Boston Tea Party so we can blame this whole group, make them all feel ashamed, hands off, and now you look like a tainted weirdo if you still voted for Trump after that. Unfortunately, it's backfiring because of people like me and several others who put this out, and you guys are here at the support group for normal people. But if you want to talk about weirdos, let's go to San Francisco, where the mayor got topless and caused quite a stir. Now, when I say topless, I don't mean she brought out her chocolate milk duds. The black mayor, London Breed, she decided to go to a concert in a small bar with no distancing, dancing on the table. Looked like there's about 180 people in there. Horrible, horrible little venue. Garbage. And she had no intention of wearing a mask. Now, when you listen to the reasons why she didn't wear her mask, it's exactly what you've been saying all along, but you're not the one that was forcing your whole city, state, country to wear a mask. Democrats are. So when they flaunt the rules, it's even worse because they're the ones forcing you to abide by them, and then they rationalize it like, we don't really need a mask. No.
San Francisco Mayor London Breed is under fire after video has come to light that shows her maskless, dancing and singing during a live indoor performance.
I had a good time at the Black Cat, and I think it's sad that this is even a story. The fact is, there was something that was really monumental that occurred, and that is Tony, the original members, the brothers, Raphael Sadiq and Dwayne Wiggins, who have not performed in public for, I believe, at least over 20 years. They are just really some of the most incredible artists in the history of this country.
That is Breed there on the left, and her critics are seizing on this, saying that she violated her own health department's masking order, which came out in August.
And from my perspective, you know, I was there, I was eating, and I was drinking, and I was sitting with my friends, and everyone who came in there was vaccinated. So the fact that we have turned this into a story about being maskless, no, I'm not going to sip and put my mask on, sip and put my mask on, sip and put my mask on, eat and put my mask on. While I'm eating and I'm drinking, I'm going to keep my mask off.
And applies to the vaccinated, like the mayor, and the unvaccinated.
We were all having a good time. And again, all vaccinated.
Here's what the order says, quote, people may remove their well-fitted mask while actively eating or drinking, while dining indoors, or while taking in live performances. Now, actively being the operative word there.
I was eating and I was drinking and I was sitting with my friends. No, I'm not going to sip and put my mask on, sip and put my mask on.
Not eating, not drinking, close to people without a mask on. The San Francisco Chronicle reported that Breed attended a birthday party at the 3-star Michelin restaurant, the French Laundry, with 7 others back in November, just days before San Francisco rolled back the reopening of indoor dining. And despite state guidelines that strongly discourage social gatherings. Now, if the French Laundry sounds familiar, that's because it's the same restaurant where California Governor Gavin Newsom attended a party last year the day before Breed. Democrats who favor COVID restrictions, they know the political perils of violating their own guidance, whether in spirit or in letter.
So the fact that this is even a story is sad. Like, like sip and drink, that is just not realistic. And when you go to restaurants, I was at a restaurant, same thing. I'm leaving my mask down while I'm enjoying my food. I'm not putting it on and taking it off, putting it on. People are not doing that. So that's just not realistic. You all know it's not realistic, but don't feel as though you have to be micromanaged about mask wearing.
Really? You're vaccinated?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are? Because I already have natural immunity.
Yeah.
You're not going to follow me around in the store and point at me to people, so I will video you.
So we have a state regulation that...
and it's not law. You're an idiot.
No. Oh, so you're going to insult me now. So my wife is a...
Leave her alone. God, leave her alone.
Infectious diseases.
Oh, is she?
What are you doing? This is between the two of us.
So what? Leave her alone. You got your mask on. You're safe. I'm sure you're vaccinated too.
He is. He has a badge that says it.
I do. So my wife is a doctor who specializes in infectious disease. So, do you think that she just doesn't know what she's talking about?
It's her choice. It's her choice. Just leave her alone.
No, there's a store requirement and a state requirement. It's not her choice.
You can't harass her.
It's
What are you
all of
even
our
in here
job
for?
as a community to come together.
You're not
and
even
make
shopping.
sure
You're
that
going
people are
around to
safe.
harass people.
Then make sure that people are
He
safe.
was
When they
following me.
put the
He
rest
won't
of
leave me
us at
alone.
risk.
Like, we don't need the fun police to come in and try and micromanage and tell us what we should or shouldn't be doing.
The party did go on. Hundreds of guests in attendance. The former president can be seen in pictures hitting the dance floor without a mask. We're told that he danced all night and had a great time.
Just to be clear, I was sitting at my table, and when, I don't know about you and whether or not you know who Raphael Sadiq and Dwayne Wiggins are, but if you know who they are, I don't care where you're sitting. You're going to get up and start dancing. My drink was sitting at the table. I got up and started dancing because I was feeling the spirit.
I was feeling the spirit. I don't want to wear a mask. That ain't realistic to be sipping and masking and sipping and masking. I'm trying to sing my national anthem. Lift all asses and twerk. As you can see, I'm eating right now. Don't worry, we're going to add music to this in post. Okay. All right, there you go. That's my impression of London Breed, who's falling down, falling down. London Breed is falling down, my fair lady. The problem is with San Francisco, she's going to win re-election for the next 45 years. Okay, she's going to look like Maxine Waters. And the other lady in the north, there's the Wicked Witch of the south and the Wicked Witch of the north. Maxine Waters, she's gotten more sun, so she's darker. And then Nancy Pelosi, just a mirror image, but just Skeletor looking. If you agree, put in the comments. Looks like Rex does. Shout out to you. And also, we missed one super chat. Stan the man. Thanks God for you. All right. Term limits need to happen is the comment that just came in from Asnif Angel. So one of the comments that I got is, Kvon, you need to wear a mask. You don't want to get COVID, do you? And I don't believe that the mask and COVID are that integrally related. I believe COVID and the mask might provide a, what did he say? What did Anthony Fauci, what did the expert say? It might give you a small amount of protection, but it doesn't give you the proper protection that you think that it does. That's the exploit. So I don't believe the mask that strongly correlates to getting sick. But if you do, that's fine. You wear your mask and I shouldn't have to. So someone said, Kvon, the government can make you wear a mask. I said, why? It's up to me. They go, they make you wear a seatbelt, don't they? Booyah! Booyah! Oh, got you. You're just a dumb comedian because I just hit you with the government can make you wear a seatbelt, even though if you got in an accident, it would only hurt yourself. But the government does mandate what you do. Booyah! So let's break down. Anytime someone uses the seatbelt defense, let's destroy it. Okay? You must wear a mask just like you must wear a seatbelt. You've seen it all over Facebook. You've seen it on YouTube. You've seen it at your local PTA meeting. Here's why the seatbelt analogy is imperfect. Number one, what if you already got COVID? The natural immunity gives you a barrier to COVID. So if you already had it, the mask isn't going to work. You already beat this virus. That would be like if you got in one car crash and now you're immune to all car crashes, then I wouldn't wear a seatbelt while I drove. Of course, there's no such thing as a car crash immunity, but there is a virus immunity, and it's called having the various things in your bloodstream that allowed you to fight allowed you to fight the virus, okay? They're called antibodies. So if you could get anti-car accidents, you wouldn't need a seatbelt. Number two, if you really think the mask protects you from COVID, and if I'm not wearing it, I'm trying to capture COVID and I'm trying to kill everybody, then you must also hate your Lord and Savior, Barack Obama. You must hate all your different disciples and apostles that went to the Met Gala, the Emmys. You must hate all BLM rioters and all immigrants because they don't need their seatbelt, apparently. They're allowed to cruise all over America with no seatbelt, but you're yelling at me, demanding it of me, mainly because I look like a guy who loves America. So you think it's okay to take out all your frustration with Lord Obama, the apostles at the Met Gala, the immigrants, and the BLM rioters. But this is a no-go zone. You don't get to dump all your frustration on them, on Kvon. Next, the seatbelt analogy is imperfect because I never wear a seatbelt when I'm on the road. Now you're saying, Kvon, how is that possible? Well, first of all, if you don't wear your seatbelt in your car, what do you get? A $40 fix-it ticket? Do you lose your job, lose your career, get fired from your government position, get told you can no longer be a Navy SEAL just because you don't put on your belt? No, they frown upon it. There is a violation. There is a ticket. But at the end of the day, you have the choice to wear your seatbelt or not. A mandate, there's not a seatbelt mandate where if you didn't put it on, they could take everything from you. But even if there were a seatbelt mandate, I'm going to tell you all that I legally drive with no seatbelt in all 50 states. Now, do you have a seatbelt law in your state where you have to wear a seatbelt? I want to read in the comments what state you live in and if there is a seatbelt law where you have to wear a seatbelt or not. You can say, hey, I'm in Virginia, and yes, we do. I want to see where my fans are in the world and if they have a seatbelt law. I'll give you a chance to kind of catch up there. We have several hundred people watching. Kara Sansoda says, yes, we have a seatbelt mandate in North Carolina where you get a ticket. Nathaniel Erskine says it's $250 fine for drivers in Colorado that fail to wear the seatbelt. Remember, if caught. Ohio, $85 fine for not wearing your seatbelt as a citation. And Washington State, yes, we do. $124 ticket if you don't wear your belt. San Diego and Texas. Okay, I'm going to blow your mind. I drive in all of those states without a seatbelt, and the police never give me a ticket, and they're not allowed to give me a ticket. In fact, I am legally driving without a seatbelt, and nobody cares, and no one can stop me. It's 100% legal. I want to see if anyone can tell why that is in the comments. Let's see if you can figure it out. How does Kvon, our favorite half Persian comedian, drive all 50 states? He does not wear a seatbelt, and not only is he's not hiding, he drives right by a cop without a seatbelt. He waves at cops. The cops can clearly see he's not wearing a seatbelt. How does he do it? Please put it in the comments. Let's see if I can find out. Anyone, if you're paying attention and if you know how I do it. And I'm going to give you guys a second to figure it out. And we're going to go through the comments and see if any of you have it all figured out. All right. It looks like some of you actually got it. I'm very, very happy because I wasn't sure if anyone would. But I'm about to show you what I drive. And you too will see that I do not legally need a seatbelt. Let's go to share my screen. Entire screen. And here we go. Here's my vehicle, folks. Boom. If you're not watching along on the podcast, I have a 2013 BMW R1200 RT. It is my choice to drive this. It is not exactly safe to drive it in comparison to a car. In fact, a car is safer. A car is safer, and I understand that risk. But the government, look at all these freaking windows. But the government has allowed me to make that decision for myself through liberty, whether I want to drive a motorcycle or not. There's no seatbelt law for a motorcycle. You too can choose whether you drive a motorcycle or not. And what the radical left wants to do is say, well, some people die on motorcycles, so we should take all of them from you. You should not get that choice. Well, I want to choose, and I enjoy riding my motorcycle, and I am accepting that there is an inherent risk with the process, but I'm going to take that risk, do my best to drive extra safe, but I'm not wearing a seatbelt, and you shouldn't either. When we come back, we have some more stuff to show you and some more fun stuff, because that was a little intense. All right, so true liberals will say, I don't wear a seatbelt, but you can. That's the same as the mask and the boosty boost. If you want to, go for it. The reason this came up is I kept getting harassed by sharing my latest video where I teach you how to wear a mask or not on a plane. It's up to you, and here's how you do it. All legal, because as you know, COVID is a very smart virus. We all have a smartphone. Well, this is the first smart virus. It knows when you are eating. It knows when you're awake. COVID knows if you've been bad or good, so eat pretzels for goodness sake. Sleepy guy. In the comments, people have been extra smart. They've said, you know what? You don't need to wear your seatbelt if you're driving on your own property. So you shouldn't be forced to get a virus if you're not planning to do anything dangerous. You don't need a seatbelt if you're a little kid, you get on a school bus. There's all kinds of different reasons you don't need a seatbelt, but the government needs to mandate the boosty boost for children right now. Why? Because children are a profit center. They don't have much of a choice. If you can convince the parents to be scared enough to drag the kids in, you're forcing a seatbelt into their arm. when previously they've never needed a seatbelt. And actually, on a bus, did you know it's actually safer for them not to be belted in because it bends them and then they smash their head? The bus has enough air in it that it compresses in a way that they just slide off the bench. And this. Now, obviously, there is a danger with getting on a bus and going to school, but we as a society have decided the danger is still worth it in the long run based on the low risk to high reward of so many children going to school on a bus without a seat belt. So anytime anyone brings the seatbelt argument to you, destroy them. I just showed you how. More money for the companies if they can get that $88 boosty boost in every little arm, and you can't say no. After all, that's 80 million arms just waiting to be boosty boosted. All right, we've talked quite a bit today about how to legally not wear a mask, how to defend against the seatbelt argument, how to look out for people who are trying to force themselves on you, and how to spot the difference between a conservative and a leftist. But what you didn't know is, do you need the boosty boost or not? Well, there has been some controversy on it. And look who refuses to answer the question if natural immunity is better than boosty boost. Watch the weasel and watch Anderson Pooper Scooper in the middle like, we've been pushing something else the whole time, Fauci, shut up.
And just real quickly, there was a study that came out of Israel about natural immunity. And basically the headline was that natural immunity provides a lot of protection, even better than the vaccines alone. What are people to make of that? So as we talk about vaccine mandates, I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID, I'm protected, and now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss regarding the durability of the response. The one thing the paper from Israel didn't tell you is whether or not, as high as the protection is with natural infection, what's the durability compared to the durability of a vaccine. So it is conceivable that you got infected, you're protected, but you may not be protected for an indefinite period of time. So I think that is something that we need to sit down and discuss seriously, because you very appropriately pointed out it is an issue, and there could be an argument for saying what you said.
And where are we on kids below the age of 12?
Look at Anderson. Can we just do the kids, though? Where are we with the kids? We got to do the kids. Anderson has his mind and his eyes on the kids. I wonder if he's secretly sponsored by Big Pharma, or is he just stupid enough to just want to fit in at cocktail parties to the point where he doesn't mind boosting your kids so he can sit at his cocktail party and say, you know, I helped get that done. I'm Anderson Pooper Scooper. All right. You know, as we were watching that video, a beautiful and amazing super chat came in from J. Kim. Boom. Poor Kvon only has one pretzel, J. Kim says. Buy a whole bag of pretzels next time. Well, I didn't think that the magical pretzel would work the whole flight. So I ate most of my pretzels, and then I just had the last one. I was like, nibble, 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 nibble. Thank you for the super chat. All right. The Right Show is almost over. As you see, it's painless, it goes quick, and you don't need a boost. But we do revisit this every single week. What we do need is a little laughter to end every show. It's kind of like the dessert. What is it called? Put in the chats. What is it called if you really like to eat sweets before bed? You like to eat sweets before bed. There's a term for that. And people always brag. They're like, oh my gosh, man, I just love sweets before bed. I guess I have a little bit of a... Some of you know it. It's coming up there. Some of you are yelling at your podcast. It's called Sweet Tooth. That's right. It is called Sweet Tooth. So if you really like sweets before bed, you have a little bit of a sweet tooth. Well, I like to make love before bed, so I have a sweet dick. Can't say that word. All right. Sweet ding-a-ling-dong. Well, it is now time to end with a comedy clip. This is how you make people laugh in Hermosa Beach, California. If you don't know, Jay Leno performs at Hermosa Beach every single Sunday. At least he did before everything got shut down. Even in the height of his career and his fame, Jay Leno would show up every Sunday night. He has a regular job. He's famous, but he keeps hanging out at the Hermosa Comedy and Magic Club. So I got invited to perform there, and I did a fun little couple minutes. This was a decade ago. So watch Baby Kvon make you laugh.
Well, hello there. It is your favorite half Persian, half stand-up comedian coming to you with a new Comedy Rewind this week. If you don't know what Comedy Rewind is, I'm the only channel that does it. I pull out a comedy clip from the vault, something from a long time ago, maybe something that was never meant to be shared in the first place. A lot of this footage was just for me as a comedian, and well, that's why the quality isn't always the best. But true comedy fans will love to see the evolution of a stand-up comedian who was just working out the bits years ago, and now, hopefully, there's been a lot of progress. This clip is no different. It comes to us from the Comedy Magic Club, a beautiful club in Hermosa Beach. It was always my dream to perform there. When I first came to California, I saw it said Comedy Magic Club, and I went up there and I said, hey, can I perform here? Now, I'd never been on stage. I had no business asking. And they're like, yeah, sure thing, just send in your email and tell them what you do. Well, 7 years later, I was invited on that stage. And you're not going to believe the people I've shared the stage with there. Daniel Tosh, Gary Shandling, Larry Miller, Alan Havey, Joe Coy, Sebastian Maniscalco, Paul Reiser. The celebrity names are endless. In fact, every year during the club's birthday, the month of July, they would put on 30 comedians a night, and big celebrities would drop in the middle of it, so it was a powerhouse. Imagine seeing 30 comedians each doing their best 3 minutes in Hermosa Beach, then walking to the pier and enjoying a slice of pizza and a gelato. That would be amazing. Well, that's what we had there for so many years. At any rate, on stage this night, I found a beautiful couple, and it turns out the woman was wearing high heels when they met and turned out to be a lot shorter than the guy thought. Please enjoy the clip.
That's good, man. Are you on a date right here yourself, my friend? Good. High five, man. Dating way out of your league. That's what you want to do. Good. Yes! That's always been a goal of mine. Always. How tall are you? 5'1". Oh, and a half. Oh, excuse me. She's got a half on there. 5'1" and a half. Was she 5'1" and a half when you met her, dude? No, right? You're probably like 5'9". Right? That's the thing about girls. Whatever height they are, you got to adjust for it. You know it's going to switch. Girls will start at 5'9", right? Then they take off the heels, take off a little bump it. I'm 5'1" and a half. Get it straight, okay? Thank you. Usually guys would freak out like, whoa, she shrunk. But we won't. Anytime a girl goes from here to here, we don't care how it happened. We're just glad that this is cool.
Hey, has that happened to you? The girl goes from here to here? Either way, I'm sure you didn't complain. Folks, that's a Comedy Rewind. Be sure to subscribe on my YouTube channel. I have 500 more comedy clips. Most of them are a lot more current than this one, but I hope you enjoyed the look back in time.
Folks, thank you for tuning in to the Late Night Right Show. Doesn't happen that often, especially not on a Tuesday, but we survived. We are telling truth through comedy. We're waking America up with laughter, and freedom of speech is under attack from big tech, big Biden, big brother. So you can catch me on Rumble, Rockfin, and Locals, because there's never a sure thing I'm going to be allowed to stay on this platform. These people scrolling by, they're the ones who put a tip in the bucket and help this show continue. So thank you for supporting not just a sweet tooth, but a sweet ding-dong. There's no big sponsors, so to speak. We've got Active Atoms, but other than that, it's just us. So consider making a one-time donation on GoFundMe.com/KvonComedy. I'll make your name go by, and you are a well-appreciated part of this podcast. PayPal.me/TanksGod is another way. And if my urban city people are watching, you can go on Cashapp or Venmo. We're hanging out after this on locals.com. So check it out there, KvonComedy.locals.com. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, Give it 5 stars. Pretend I'm your Uber driver and I just took you on a very fun journey. Thanks for watching The Right Show. You get to keep leaving your comments in the chats. Then we're coming over to locals. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.
Please hang up and try.